Welcome back, everyone. We're here with another matchup analysis video this week, and we've got Junebug versus Chevy. We're here at Salty Wands, and I just thought that Chevy's run at Salty Wands was like really great, and I think that he's doing a lot with Samus that not many people have been doing. Even back when Sam and other Samuses were like active, they definitely didn't play in a way that that Chevy does. And I think that Chevy's playstyle really heavily emphasizes some of PM Samus's advantages over melee Samus, and sort of takes the playstyles that are familiar with the melee Samus, a lot of the conditioning, and adds a little bit of PM flair to it as well. So you'll see a lot of more movement trickery, which sort of adds to the conditioning that other Samus players kind of do. And I think that that's like really evident in this last game against Junebug. I'm going to be doing game 5, and Junebug's going to be playing Diddy Kong. This entire set he plays through a bunch of different characters, and this game he's going to be playing Diddy Kong. Something that I want to kind of emphasize throughout this set as it happens is how Chevy uses conditioning as well as defensive reads to really set the pace in neutral, where he kind of becomes the centerpiece, as to like he is like the centralized wall that Junebug has to get through in order to do anything. And something else I'm going to be talking about as this set goes on is the idea of trades, and how a character like Samus can make mistakes more often than a character like, let's say, Fox, or someone who's like super huge combo food. So let's start off with the first bit of damage in this game. Right here, Chevy shoots a missile, doesn't really hit Junebug, and forward tilts in the opposite way. Right? Junebug pretty much gets a free punish here, and against other characters, if you're not playing Samus, you have to play that character a different way. You have to be aware of mistakes. If you were, for example, Falco in this situation, and you did a laser and then you forward tilted in the other direction for some reason, you're going to get super hardcore punished. This Diddy Kong can like back throw you off the side of the stage, hit you with the run-off dash attack, and gimp you, and you just die. That's your stock. Like, that's not even that difficult to do. But a character like Samus is super heavy, a character like Samus is super floaty, and has a recovery that can bring her back to the stage from most anywhere, with her bomb jump, double jump, and tether. So you're allowed to make plays like that, and Chevy only takes 8%, you see. So this luxury that a heavy character has is you can make these reads, right? What is Chevy reading here? He's reading that Junebug is going to do some sort of grab or a jab, or like some sort of nair out of shield, or some sort of option that he wants to catch with his forward tilt. That's Chevy's luxury as a heavy character. You get to make this read, and if you're wrong, if you guess wrong, then it's no big deal. You just take 8%. So you're going to see a lot of reads from Chevy. You're going to see a lot of trying to call out different things, and you're going to see how that throughout the game, the evolution of that just lets him pull further and further ahead. As when you're playing against a character like Samus, you have to be winning neutral more often than she is, because your combo game on her, there's like no way you're going to be able to outpace a Samus. Like, there are certain characters that can combo the floaties, but for the most part, especially in this matchup, Diddy Kong versus Samus, Diddy Kong has to be controlling the neutral. Diddy Kong has to be winning neutral all the time in order to kind of keep pace. So you'll see right here, Chevy can do things like this. He can jump up and nair. Like, this is a call on a specific option, right? So let's go through all the different options that Junebug can do right now. Junebug can tournament winner and go up. He can get up attack. He can ledge dash. He can do a jump aerial kind of in this zone. But this nair pretty much covers one thing. If you go up here without a hitbox, or I suppose if you go up here and you're not invincible, it can kind of beat out other moves. But it covers this area. That's like a nair. It covers here. It's in the air. It can't cover here, right? So something to pay attention to is Chevy is willing to make this hard call. And if he messes up, it's not that big of a deal, especially against Diddy Kong. That's his luxury, like I've said before. So you'll see things like this. He gets a really big reward for just kind of like seeing what happens, right? What if he jumps? He does, and he gets a small kind of a bit of damage right there. And you'll also see Chevy in this specific spot, which is another sort of spacing technique. You'll see Samus's do. They have like a lot of range with like their forward tilts and their jabs. So he's safe from Junebug doing anything right here. And if Junebug does anything funny, he could just release the charge shot, do something like that. Maybe like shield and then up out shield or something. Chevy's safe, and it's really good when you are a floatier character to kind of force your opponent into situations where they are easier to read. So stage control is really important with these kinds of characters, and you'll see that Chevy will do these little reads over and over. So here's a read, right here. He's going to wave dash back, or he's going to jab, trying to catch like a grab or something like that. Junebug doesn't, so Chevy does the next read, which is a wave dash back forward smash, just in case it was really close to hitting. It's a couple frames off. If Junebug was a little closer, that would have worked too. So you'll see Chevy do all these like little traps, right? And like he does a jab afterwards to catch this jump in. Samus's jab is like pretty good as far as jabs go, as far as disruption. So you can see like Samus's arm is kind of like covers like a larger space. So even though Junebug jumped, he gets caught. If Junebug were to wave dash in, he would also get caught. Like Samus's jab has a lot of presence, and it's really nice for Chevy to kind of use it just to feel it out. Because again, if this jab doesn't work, we've seen that like Junebug's punish game isn't super big on Samus. And we're gonna like go into Chevy's movement in a little bit, but just notice that that's how he plays Samus. That's how like these things that are like super big commitment, it's like a huge commitment, but not that much of a punishment if you get it wrong. So like let me just emphasize this because I kind of left it implied, but this jump right here is to catch him falling. So he thinks, okay, I'm gonna fall off the platform, Junebug's gonna follow me there, right? He gets it right. And the fact that Chevy gets all of these reads right is like really nice, and really helps him kind of stay in the game. If you're a Samus that's guessing wrong, or if you're a Samus that's not really thinking, or like trying to do these defensive moves, right? So something like this forward tilt, it comes out before Junebug approaches. You have to put a move out like that before an approach comes out, so that you can preemptively beat out their hitbox. Samus doesn't have like a frame one shine. You can't just react to everything. You have to kind of understand that you're slower, and you have to put out moves ahead of time. So that's how come this forward tilt hits Junebug right here. Right? You see that, right? That. And, ooh, that's like a really nice one. And this is like kind of how the movement comes into play. You'll see a couple of other things from Chevy like that later on in the set too. But notice how a lot of what Chevy does is like really deliberate. Right here, he like gets up a little bit, right? He sees that Junebug is on the edge of platform. Bomb pushes him off the side and sends him into tumble, then he can just drop through Nair. One more time. And as this is happening, the more and more Junebug gets hit, and this is that spacing that I was talking about. We'll talk more after this stock, but remember before when I said Chevy's in a safe spot where he can just do whatever he wants and isn't threatened by Diddy Kong? That forward smash is to cover a couple options. This is the other half to the kind of hard read situation that you got going on. Junebug can either go up. If he goes up, he gets hit by a Nair, or Junebug can go in. If he goes in, he gets hit by a forward smash. Notice that the forward smash doesn't really cover this at all. If he forward smashes and Junebug goes up, then Junebug like kind of just gets staged for free. Similarly, if Chevy decided to Nair up here and Junebug went down, he would get in for free. But because you're a floaty, you can make these really risky, like not risky, but like not guaranteed. Like these moves are not guaranteed to hit. You don't cover everything, but you cover one or two things really hard, and that's how you get stocks with these kinds of characters. It's not a combo into a kill move. It's just making the right decision. And you'll see, like, as the game goes on, Junebug like will struggle to keep up with the punish game of Chevy. Chevy is like doing a really good job at keeping the neutral game even. He's winning about an even number of neutral game exchanges, but his punish game is just outpacing Junebug's because he's Samus, right? There's like a little bit of a disruption right there, and Junebug is constantly just trying to go in, trying to figure out how to like get through Chevy's defenses, but he's a little too slick. Right there, Junebug, like, he just gets a grab, you know? Not too much. Chevy's at 169, and Junebug is already halfway done with his next stock. So we got a couple more reads here, and I think that, like, it's important to just kind of, like, notice them as they happen, and notice how many are happening. If you play a character like Samus, or other characters that are sort of similar would be like Diddy or Ganondorf, you have to understand that your character is slow, and you have to understand that even though your character is slow, it doesn't mean that you're not making decisions. Just because a fox is faster than you doesn't mean that he's thinking faster or he's making more decisions per minute than you are. We'll just look at this small little interaction. Chevy knows that Junebug wants the banana, so he's gonna jab. Get off of that banana. If you go through that banana, I'm gonna try to, I'm just gonna do something, right? And he thinks that Junebug's gonna go for the banana again, so he grabs, right? But Junebug does like a little bit of a dash dance, which gets him out of it. But right there, that's 2 reads, you see? Well, it's actually 3 because of that second Zaire. You're going for the banana, I know you're going for it, and you're gonna go for it, but Junebug does the smart thing, kind of mixes up his movement a little bit, dash dances back, and that's what gets him that stock. I think that, yeah, so like right there, Chevy messes up, right? He jabs in the wrong direction, but it doesn't get that much of a punish. Junebug whiffs the grab, but even if he got the grab, that's not too much to add on. We're going to see a little bit of sneaky movement from Chevy in a little bit. Oh, that's actually the biggest punish Junebug has gotten this game. Right, so you see right here, this is where the conditioning, and I'm sure that like you can watch a lot of Melee Samus videos about this very phenomenon, but like the idea that Samus can have surprising amounts of speed, and when you are shielding, that grab can make you feel like an idiot for getting hit by that thing. So like, if you're Junebug and a Samus is right here and you're right here, right? You just missed the L cancel on, or like you just L canceled the back air, and he's like coming in this way. So you're thinking, oh shoot, this Samus is gonna like maybe fair me from ledge and catch me, or do a nair or something like that, right? You're really threatened by the threat of an aerial or some sort of move coming out right here. So Junebug does the thing that is like normal in this situation, is he shields. Okay, shielding will prevent any of that from happening. And if Chevy were to do a forward air, then like he can potentially get naired out of shield. Or if he like fares up and then Chevy up B's up here, then that gives Junebug advantage. So Junebug's like, okay, I messed this up, but I can turn this into my advantage if I shield. This is the best way for me to go about it. But because Samus is so like actually sneakily fast in PM, Chevy can like tournament winner, instant waveland, go to the other side of him and grab, which is like, wait a second, did I just get duped? I expected an aerial, but I got grabbed, and it's like Samus is terribly slow grab too. So Chevy was able to get a lot of mileage off of just that, like again, like sneaky little movement like this, like I don't know, like Samus, like especially in this matchup where I feel like Samus doesn't really get juggled super hard, which is like a really big deal for her. You can go up, you can go down, you can toss out a nair, and like, whoa, like what's going on? Like this Samus is like super deadly on these platforms, and Junebug is just in shield, always shielding, like what is going on? Why is he doing this? And then like the little burst movement with the morph ball too. You see right here, this is like another ambiguous mix-up, and now that Chevy's got Junebug a little scared, he can throw out the grabs a little more, right? Junebug's getting up, and he's thinking, oh shoot, he's going to nair me, or he's going to down air me or something. Better put up shield. and then Chevy catches him again, right? Catches him on the way down with Nair, and we're on the next stock. Again, Junebug can't get too much off of a punish. I'm sure that Diddy Kong has a punish game against Samus, but Junebug just really isn't showing much knowledge of the matchup right now. So he's just trading and trading. But every time like Chevy gets a trade, it's a couple hits. Right here, he does another thing, right? He wave dashes in. He expects Junebug to think that he's gonna jab. So, like that's like the mix-up. And like notice how many times I'm like stopping the video to let you know about something that Chevy is definitely thinking about. That's like so many. Like playing a character like this is like a very involved experience if you're playing at a pretty high level. Junebug's rolling in. Chevy thinks, okay, two things I can do. I can either jab, or let's not say that that's jabbing. Let's call this jabbing. I can either jab, and if I jab, Junebug is obviously going to toss up his shield, right? So then the mix-up is like, okay, instead of jabbing, I'm going to toss out my grab. Or let's do grab like this, yeah. So he's going to toss out the grab, which catches the shield, right? So obviously, there's no reason to throw out a grab right here if you don't think that Junebug is going to shield, right? He spaces on the other end of it, but notice how the grab comes out while Junebug is shielding. If Junebug didn't roll onto the other side of Chevy, you would have gotten that one as well. Again, we see like this sort of weird defensive movement here. Once Junebug comes in, he gets hit by these nairs. Like, look, rising nair, or falling nair, rising nair, falling nair again, and it's a trade. Trades are, like, super good for Samus. Like, you are not killing this girl. Here we go, a little bit of trickiness on the movement, right? And that jab grab is, like, super interesting also. Like, he gets caught by the little flick of that forward air. Like, Junebug is in the middle of his dash dance. He does not expect Samus to be this fast. Samus is super fast in your face, jab, and you get scared, so you shield, and he grabs you. Like, Chevy is, like, really good at, like, making Junebug fear him. And if you play a character that's this slow, that's, like, what you need in order to, like, tie it up. Like, this Diddy Kong character is, like, oh, my God, here we go. And, like, again, Chevy does this, wave dashes back right to that spot where he isn't threatened by any of Diddy Kong's moves, right? The fastest thing that can come out right now is a ledge jump fair, and notice how Chevy is always right outside the range of that. Junebug decides to ledge dash and dies for it. And notice how Junebug still can't close out this stock. That's getting to be an issue too. But just the fact that like Samus is behaving in such like a sporadic way is getting a lot of these neutral wins for Chevy. He's like playing a really good game as far as like keeping Junebug on the wrong end of the mix-up and catching his approaches and stuff like that, as well as just being super tricky with the movement. Especially in PM when Samus is on ledge and she can be like super sneaky about it. Like look at this, like notice what Chevy's doing, and then I'm gonna zoom back, and then I'm gonna show you, like you'll look at what Junebug does after this, but let's like, what is going on? Like look at Chevy. Like this movement's super good, and then look at what Junebug does in response to that. He sees all these missiles and he's just like, okay, I'm shielding, what's going on? And then his shield gets so small that it gets shield poked. Or he might have jumped out of shield there, but still, it's just like you can just feel the pressure is so overwhelming. And like Chevy like transitions from like at the beginning of the game he was pretty much always like running away, and now he's like doing nothing but like approaching Junebug over and over again, and Junebug just feels super suffocated. And that's going to be the end of it. Just one more read on that recovery angle and we're good. But yeah, just watch how this last stock plays out. Like, it's like crazy to see the difference, and that's like adapting to the player, you know? Adapting to like how the game is going. Chevy sees his opening right here, and he knows that Junebug's on the ropes. And especially with a stock lead with a character like this, you're allowed to be like way more daring, way more bold. And like Chevy like knows how to like play it again like this. Junebug misses this and like isn't aware that Chevy has like the opportunity to just punish it. Like Junebug jumps instead of shields right there. He wasn't ready for that back air. Right here. With the rise, and then again. Like Junebug was on the defensive that entire game. Or that entire stock. And I'm just gonna go back to the beginning while I'm like wrapping up here. But just like the amount of different ways that the decision trees can be made in this game is really interesting. Like when you look at like a character that's floaty like Samus. Samus can't combo, Samus can't really pressure. She just has to like make good decisions, and she has like the stats to be able to make tons and tons of decisions. Like you can choose to, I don't know, like read things with jabs, read things with grabs, and you can mess up and like you won't die. Like you can't play a read heavy Falco, you can't really play a read heavy like Wolf, but like Samus you can, because Samus, like if you get messed up, you eat like 8%. It doesn't really matter. And like the fact that in PM Samus is just like that little bit faster, she has like a couple more options, it makes her like way more deadly. Like those kinds of things compound like a ton when you're like still not getting comboed super hard in some matchups, and like you have the tools to like make people feel less safe, you know? But anyways, that's kind of my 1-2 on this match. Like Chevy is definitely showing himself to be like the trailblazer of Samus nowadays in PM. There isn't much. I think Morse Code might be the only other one that's super relevant right now, but with this top 8 finish at Salty Wands 4, and I think at 5th place after beating Junebug, like it's really cool to see Samus back on the map, and I think that this is definitely a really good resource if you want to know how that character works and sort of its philosophy in PM. So thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video, I suppose. See ya.